understand we like bad boys, but disrespecting a book? That's where I draw the line.
Oh no, okay, I'm not gonna be able to read this with a straight face. I'm devastated to announce... Whoa, wait, hold on. Hi everyone, welcome to a video. My name is Cari. The sun just went away. There was like a gorgeous, beautiful golden hour sun. And then I hit record. How are you all? I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I had different plans. I had different plans for our video this week. I was going to be reading a book series that it's not as popular as the ones that some of the ones that I've reacted to before have been, but it's kind of this cult classic, and I'm very excited to read it because it seems right up my alley. So I was very prepared to like not film for a week, take a week off. I had just did my Abby Jimenez video, and so I just picked up a book that I could enjoy throughout the week. You know, like I didn't have any plans to talk about it. We have to talk about this book. So this video, this week, I'm going to be reading a couple books. As I will explain in a second, I can't do a full reaction to this book because I'm already almost done with it, but I'm going to be covering some books that are kind of trending right now, or that I have just heard about a lot on my For You page. So I'm very excited. I feel like it's so funny because I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop with certain booktok things. Like my For You page, I'm not on TikTok like at all, but when I am, it is now interior design and occasionally books. But mostly it's just from like the people that I currently follow. So the certain like, wow, this book is huge on booktok, especially the more like indie books or like the Kindle Unlimited book, like that kind of world. I don't ever see that come across my page. So when I do, I kind of take note. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm missing. This is the conversation that I don't hear. So that's kind of how I have found these books. But I am trying to get better at that. One of my goals for, I guess, continuing through this year is to just get more involved in the book community. It's partially social anxiety, and it's partially that I use, I think, all of my online energy, all of my kind of social battery when I'm creating the content, and then when I'm responding to like very specifically my comment section, when I'm talking to like the people who are watching my videos, that I just don't have the energy to go out and then engage with other content. I watch so many people's content and then I just like don't have it in me to leave a comment. So I'll just like things, but I want to like, words are important. So I want to kind of like show up more with my words. That is a long-term goal. That is like, I have trouble responding to my personal friends, responding to their DMs and text messages because I am like just burnt out a lot of the time. So that's like far in the future. When we are working towards that goal, you're not going to see me in every comment section anytime soon, but just know that that's something I'm working on, getting more involved in the book community so that I'm not hearing these conversations coming to me like months and months and months after the fact, right? It's cool to be involved. I love our community. I would like it to be bigger. So speaking of community building though, I would like to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is where you can host your online presence. I personally use it for a blog. I've used it as a blog for years, but because it has a lot of cool different features, you can also use it for a community building space. For example, they have a really wonderful comment section, ways that you can attach your social media into your website. They even have monetization features if you are interested in starting some kind of online shop. They have really great analytics as well, which I love. And it's also just easy to set up. They have a really wonderful design system with free themes, and it just keeps getting better. They have more and more design features being launched. For someone who can't build websites to save her life with just a few clicks, I had my site up and running and looking professionally done. Highly recommend Squarespace. I have a link in my description box. You can go to squarespace.com/caricanread to get 10% off of your first website or domain. Excited to see what you did with that. Thank you as always to Squarespace. And now to talk about the book that inspired this video that I have been eating up. I remember hearing about this book on Instagram long ago. Time doesn't exist. right? What is time? It could be years, it could have been a few months. I think it was like at least a year ago. It was a post that was either like, I've just got my agent, or where the book was kind of in this, ooh, coming soon, but like we're not quite sure when feeling. And the description was sapphic romance, vampires, New York City in the 1920s at the peak of the Harlem Renaissance. There are gangsters. We're solving a mystery. Oh my God. She could have named one of those things. Literally one of those bullet points would have had me interested in the book. All of those combined. So it had such an impact on me. Like, I read a lot of people talking about their book ideas as they're querying or like getting agents and things like that. But this stuck in my mind for however long ago I read it. And so now it came out and it is called This Ravenous Fate. I knew I was gonna like it, but I've honestly been quite let down by a lot of arcs that I've been reading, like a lot of things that sound good in theory. I've read so many books that have great concepts and then they just fall flat. They don't deliver for me. So I went into this for absolutely nothing to do with the book or the author, simply just like I've been traumatized. I wasn't going in thinking this was gonna steal my little heart away. And here I am, sitting in front of the camera, 60% of the way through, saying, this has stolen my heart away. I'm so excited to finish it. The only reason I am not further along in this book is because I literally fell asleep. You know that I have like a Kindle holder in my bed. So I was laying in bed reading and then I woke up. I must have fallen asleep. Like, I was so tired that I fell asleep reading it. If humans didn't need to sleep, I would be probably done with this by now. I'm just gonna catch you up on my feelings, no spoilers. But this is everything that I just said. We follow Elsie and Layla. They were best friends growing up. Their families had kind of met while they were moving to New York City. They were just kind of inseparable. They were raised together, and then something happened. And we get more specifics as the plot goes on. I think I mentioned in another review of This Will Be Fun. This also had kind of the friendship breakup happens right before the story starts. And so we keep getting these callbacks of like, can you believe it's all because of Beatrice, what Beatrice did? And we never got like more crumbs. Like, I feel like each time you reference something happening in the past, you should give your audience like a little bit more, just a tiny bit, so that we slowly, like, we're still so interested in this and we're trying to figure it out ourselves. That book was very much just like, you wouldn't believe it. You would not believe, oh my God, Beatrice, you would. This gives you the seed and then it just sprinkles it a little bit as you go on. I still don't fucking know. I still don't know what happened. And I'm dying to know. It's paced really well. So we meet Layla and Elise, best friends. Now they are sworn enemies. Our story starts when Elise comes back from France. She had just been there to further her music career and to get out of the city because it's not safe for her there, because she is part of the Saint Empire. Her father, Tobias Saint, has discovered a specific kind of steel that he uses to create bullets that will kill reapers. Reapers are essentially vampires. We're still getting information on how these vampires actually came to be, and I don't want to spoil anything, but that's another little nugget mystery that we have to solve as well. But it is high time for her to return home to her family, and immediately upon touching the shores of New York, all hell breaks loose. We also are following Layla, who is now a reaper herself. Again, hazy on the details, but she was turned into a vampire about 5 years ago, into a reaper about 5 years ago. And when Layla and Elise are both tasked with solving a murder, all of a sudden these friends turned to enemies have to work together. And again, there is just this swirling question of like, what happened 5 years ago? It's just truly so delicious. It's set on this backdrop of like speakeasies and jazz clubs and these like 1920s gangsters in New York City. All of the girls are like super bejeweled. Their outfits are amazing. It also delves into not only racism, but classism. Each character is a mystery in and of itself. Like, I don't know who to trust. I'm very worried about betrayal. I feel like everyone is going to betray me in this book, and I'm really worried about it. But yes, I am, let me see, I think I'm on page 200 and 78. I'm on chapter 26. 61% of the way through. Elise is also a musician, so there's these wonderful scenes of her trying to express her emotions through music. She also has OCD and lots of anxiety and like PTSD that she's dealing with, and I thought that those scenes were really wonderful too. I am so excited to finish this book with you. There is currently so much tension and I am living for it. So that is this Ravenous Fate. I am going to get dinner and just finish this tonight, I'm pretty sure. So I will see you guys then, and then we will pick our next book. But chef's kiss, okay? Wonderful. This Ravenous Fate. I will see you in a second. Hi, real quick update. I'm at 74%. The only reason I'm not done with this book is because Kurt got home and we decided we wanted to finish season 6 of House. So we ended up watching TV, but I'm excited about all of the developments. It's getting messy. My only confusion is that the plot kind of centers around the idea of finding a cure for being a Reaper, and I can't tell what side people are on and like what exactly that entails, because a lot of how the Reapers are treated kind of mimics, are you slipping? Because a lot of how Reapers are treated, it's talked about as if it is segregation happening. So not only do we have the issue of white people being separated from POC, we also have the mortals, non-Reapers being separated from the Reapers. And I can't tell if it's like, do we want to find a cure? But we do. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen right now in terms of like, who is the real villain here? I think that that's like a very interesting question, is like sometimes with complicated things, you can have people who are like almost good, or like they're being good, but it benefits themselves. I think that's a really cool concept of like, technically, yes, this guy is saying that he's gonna make your life better, but he's not doing it for you. He's doing it for himself, and that helping you, he's gonna hold that over your head for the rest of your lives. So I think these villains are just very complicated, and I'm not quite sure what's going on. And like our main characters don't really know either in terms of like who they should be helping and stuff like that. So I'm confused, but I think it's intentional. And I'm just excited for this action to get started. It already has started, but keep going. 74%. Hello, hi. So I just finished this Ravenous Fate. Definitely enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to the second book. I believe it's a duology. I'm not gonna give it like 5 stars. I think that the strengths of this book were kind of more in the first 60%, I would say. I just absolutely loved the setting. I think she did a really wonderful job of setting that up. And I think the discussions that I mentioned about race and classism and things like that were also really nuanced and really great and very naturally put into the plot. Where I think it kind of lost me is in the action scenes. They were quite confusing just as I'm trying to picture things. Like, I'm a very visual person, so when characters are kind of, I thought that they left, but then they came back into the room, and there were a lot of times where like Elise especially would leave and then just appear randomly. And there were quite a few time jumps that I didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand how much time had passed in between them. We went very swiftly from like scene A to scene B, and it wasn't clear that, oh, this is happening many hours later, or oh, this is happening weeks later, kind of thing. So I think just as the action really started to speed up at the end of the book, it got a little confusing, but I'm intrigued still. But I would still recommend you giving it a go, especially if that concept, vampires, gangsters in the 1920s, New York City, jazz clubs, etc. If that is the vibe that you are looking for, if you are immediately interested in that, I would still give it a go because I think it has a lot of potential as a debut. I think hopefully in the second book, she'll kind of get her hands on getting those action scenes down. But it was just very exciting to finally see this book that I have been interested in for a very long time finally come out, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm not a perfect book, especially as things really started to speed up, but I think she executed her concept quite well. And I'm excited for the second one. We might be going overseas. I don't know. I'm just so interested. So that is This Ravenous Fate. Check it out. Next up, our next book that we're immediately diving into. I'm very unsure about this book. This is a true BookTok sensation that I found accidentally. This was one where I was like, oh, this is the side of BookTok that I don't see. And apparently it's already been buzzed about. I'm kind of late to it, but I'm going to dive into it. I feel like the people whose opinions I typically tend to share didn't love this book. However, I'm going in with a very open mind. A lot of people have loved it. I'm not expecting anything revolutionary considering it seems like a book that is written for certain tropes, but I'm going in not knowing anything, completely blank slate. Let me read to you on Goodreads what we're getting into. The cover just kills me. This is Quicksilver, the first book of the Fae and Alchemy series. It has 26,000 ratings and it's a 4.49. Oh, it's already good. It starts off with 3 bold sentences. Do not touch the sword. Do not turn the key. Do not open the gate. In the land of the unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for a glass of water. 24-year-old Sarah Fane is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange powers she possesses, or the fact that she's been picking pockets and stealing from the Undying Queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. But a secret is like a knot. Sooner or later, it's bound to come undone. When Sarah comes face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported into a land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, of legend, of nightmares. But it turns out they're real. And Sarah has landed herself right in the middle of a centuries-long conflict that might just get her killed. Oh no. Oh no. The first of her kind to tread the frozen mountains of Yavalia in over 1,000 years, Saris mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome Fae warrior who has secrets and nefarious agendas of his own. He will use her alchemist's magic to protect his people, no matter what it costs him. Or her. Oh no. Death has a name. Oh no. Okay, I'm not going to be able to read this with a straight face. Death has a name. It is Kingfisher of the Ahhhh Gate. His past is murky. His attitude stinks. And he's the only way Saris is going to make it home. Be careful of the deals you make, dear child. The devil is in the details. Oh, and also, bold and italicized, Quicksilver contains depictions of graphic violence / adult situations and is therefore recommended for readers 17 up. For a full list of tropes and trigger warnings, please visit the author's website. It is 588 pages. It came out in June. Here we go. I just scrolled really quickly, but back when I actually used Goodreads, I don't use Goodreads anymore, but back when I actually used it, I just kind of friended anybody who requested me. So based on my friends or following, 2 people have reviewed the book. I didn't read the reviews. I just glanced at the stars. 1 person gave it 5 stars. 1 person gave it 1.5. So who knows what I'm going to feel about it. But yeah, we're going in to Quicksilver to see what this BookTok book is all about. Ready? Let's go. All right, our first update. I am on page 40, chapter 3, only 5% of the way through. It's like 600 pages, this book. It says 670 pages. First chapter, I really liked it. I love when a book immediately starts with an action scene. We are following our main girl, Saris, who is a pickpocket, and she is in the middle of a scuffle with a guard. She got caught with something and she ends up managing to steal a piece of his armor, and she is like scurrying away with it. So we have like this kind of chase scene. She's climbing a wall, lots of action, great. So first chapter, I was like, okay, all right, this is fine. Second chapter though, it's just falling into one of the traps that I don't really like, where the author is trying so hard to make this character a tough girl. So now we are seeing her in a tavern where she comes to, what did it say? Like she only comes here to fight and to fuck. It's like, okay. So that whole chapter is pretty much just telling us that she's this like super tough, give no fucks. She's 23 years old. Tough girl, only cares about her brother and getting a better life for her brother. So I think hopefully this is just like a rocky world building, character building chapter. It's easy to read. I haven't really read enough to express any more feelings, but hey, stop. Also, if you ever need any help focusing, I use not only my phone, I have an app called Forest, which locks you out of your phone for a certain amount of time, but I also just set timers, 30-minute timer, and then I don't typically look at my phone until that timer comes off. So that's what that was, my 30-minute timer. Yeah, I'm kind of on the, like one chapter was really good, one chapter wasn't my cup of tea, so I'm nervous as to where it's gonna go. She also has one of the male characters has red hair, and she went like real hard into describing how wonderful his hair was. Yeah, that's my only update so far. I'm gonna keep reading, I'm gonna have lunch. Who knows where this is going. I think that the city setup is really interesting. Like where they live is apparently like constructed like a wheel, and then there's different spokes, and so like the center is called the hub where like the rich people live, and then the spokes are all these different wards. So she lives in the 3rd ward, which apparently is like quarantined because there's a plague, but not everyone has the plague. I'm not sure. But so far, like the actual setup of the city is quite interesting, but I need to read more. So I'll catch you, I don't know, I'm gonna try and read as much as possible. So I'll see you next time. Okay, real quick, we're only at 10%, but this girl effed up. She is in deep shit. The stakes have risen, let's just say. I'm still waiting for it to, like, so far it's been good. Like potential, I'm not bored, I'm excited. There's like an immortal queen who is completely off her rocker. And I think because she's like planning to execute our main girl, not really a spoiler, she gets in trouble. I think because she's like assuming that our main girl is going to be killed in a couple of pages, the queen just lets it out that there used to be fae. Like no one knew that there used to be fae. They're like just things, they're just part of like fairy tales. But the fae really existed, and this queen, Madra, who's like 1,000 years old, banished them. And she thinks that Saris was trained by the fae, because who else could beat up her guards? Now we know that fae exist, but we've got bigger problems. We've got bigger fish to fry. Oop, we're here from the Goodreads summary. She's discovered her powers. Good for her, girly. Not so good for the guy she's about to kill. Uh-oh. He's dark-haired and tall. Taller than any man I'd ever seen. Oh God, and he has green eyes. And his voice is like a stroke of velvet. We are screwed, ladies and gents. And here we go. Okay, I'm 83 pages in, 12%, and I have to stop for the day. I have actual work to do. So I'm going to continue this maybe tonight, but so far the bad guys, like all of the villains, like the queen and her captain and the guard, have so far all been really stupid. I tend to like a more clever villain. They are all just like making simple mistakes. Like I get that they're underestimating Ceres, but it's like, guys, this is really messy. But I'm excited to see where it goes. We have just potentially entered into the Fae realm, so I'll see you there. We're back. It's quite a few hours later. I finished my work for the day and it is pouring rain, like coming down in sheets. So perfect reading weather. I'm diving right back in. Catch you later. I also just got this tea collection from T2 Teas, and it's all different characters. I posted more about it on my TikTok, but this is Jane Eyre's blend, Melbourne Breakfast, and then on the inside it tells you like why they chose this tea for them. Anyway, so tea, rain, reading. Wait, what? Look at this. When art imitates life. I didn't even know that it was that this chapter started with rain. Love it. Okay, also this Melbourne breakfast tea is really delicious, so I'm in a good space. Okay, I'm sorry. So she is like thinking that she's dead and she keeps hearing these voices and this like soft and sweet voice that made her miss her mother, and I'm thinking like, oh, maybe she's feeling comforted, and she's just like, I wish she would just fuck off. Like, stop haunting me, you crazy lady. Let me just die. Not what I was expecting. It didn't smell like musk. Rat. Uh-oh. I mean, if this girl just went through life-saving surgery where her internal organs needed to like regrow and all of this stuff, did the doctor not bathe her beforehand? Because why is she now taking a bath and it's black with dirt and scum? Is that sanitary? I understand we like bad boys, but disrespecting a book, that's where I draw the line. A Fae name with Fae powers, you say? Good morning, it's a new day. Really quickly, I don't have any updates because I haven't read a whole lot. I'm at 24%. I stopped the book last night so that I would remember to tell you this. He is our undoubtedly romantic lead. Kingfisher himself is 1,733 years old. Just thought you should know. Okay, really quick, sorry about the air conditioner going really fast. One thing I hate, a word that I just cannot deal with, is bitch, and they have used that word so much. Like, I don't care if you talk to like a man like that, like you call a man a little bitch. Yes, stan, go for it. But even if the woman is evil, a man calling a woman a bitch is like not something I can ever stand by for some like, I don't know why, honestly. Like, there are worse words, but that's just like an ick I have. And Fisher specifically, the romantic lead, has used bitch so many times. Sometimes, to be fair, he is talking about a female dog, but in the context of like, oh, you're just like a bitch in heat. So yeah, and I also just don't get the immediate hostility. Like, I get that they're supposed to be like not getting along, but I don't really understand why she hates him so much. Now I understand. Like, now he's given us plenty of reasons, but just like, where was that initial seed? And he's trying to get her to understand her powers, but he's doing so by like just throwing her in the deep end and hurting her. And I understand that a lot of times fantasy books will be like, your partner pushes you to your limits because he believes you're that strong and that blah blah blah. But in this case, she's like being physically burned by this piece of metal, and he wants her to identify it, and he's like, tell me what it is. And she's like, it's fucking burning through my hand. That's what it is. And he just like won't give up, and he's like physically holding the thing in her hand, and she's like screaming, and it's I'm like, you know, I'm okay with bad first impressions, but this is like the 5th time we've met him, and he's just giving, he's like, listen, he roared. He's telling her to like move past the pain, and she's like, this was cruel, this was torture, I was burning alive, he was going to kill me. And he's like, show me that you're tougher than I think you are. I'm on page 200. Nothing has fucking happened except for them bickering. Like 0 world building has happened, and he's just saying shit like this and like talking about how he can smell her lust. I am finishing this chapter, and I think this is gonna be a swift Deanna, if you can call 200 pages swift. But like, I'm so fucking over this. Page 201, we're done. We're fucking done. I'm out. Tapping out now. Goodbye, everybody. Like, I would stick around if there was any story actually happening, but we're 200 pages in, and she like just barely learned that she could like identify and awaken the quicksilver, which is like what we're like, she's staying there so that she can awaken the quicksilver and use the portal to like go home and like open the portal. That's what the Fae want. I feel like we haven't learned anything. Like, some fantasy books are 400 to 300 pages. We are at 201, and I feel like nothing has happened. It's just like she either goes to the library and then Fisher comes in and they bicker, or she goes to the forge and nothing really happens and they bicker. And he has not given us any reason to like him. Like, we have seen no quality about him that is redeeming in any way. He just kind of seems like a dick. Our main character is like, who again was like, I just come to the tavern to fight and fuck, and like, I care so much about my brother and blah blah. Now she's just like, oh my god, there's a drop of sweat coming off of his nose, and she like loses her mind, and she like gets lost staring at him to the point where she has to be like, what where was I? It's just dumb, and nothing about this has been exciting or interesting. It's not very mysterious. Like, I know that things, like, it sucks because the tidbits of plot and world building that we've gotten, I'm interested, but I also don't want to have to read like 80 pages of them being assholes to each other just to get like one extra little plot point. Like, it's very difficult to read. And I've been laying here an hour and a half, and I've only read 6%, and I've just been like on my phone, randomly cleaning the house. Like, I've just been getting up, doing other things because I'm so not interested. I'm putting this down. Quicksilver, like I said, I'll finish the chapter. I'm on chapter 12. Like, a fox bit her. Like, they were in the forge, like learning how to mess with the metals, and a fox came out of nowhere and bit her, and he wouldn't help her because it was a learning experience. Boo. Okay. Well, wow. Pardon the cloud interruption. Well, that was a quicker DNF than I thought it would be, even though technically I read 205 pages. Quicksilver's a no for me. I just can't get into protagonists or like the main romantic lead acting like a middle school boy, but also like a college bro. Like, the guy who is technically in his 20s, but he has the maturity level of a middle school boy, you know? And no hate to middle school boys. I'm sorry. There are many that are very demure. very mindful. There was just nothing happening. I didn't really do any check-in for probably 10%. I ended up reading 30% of the book. So like an entire third of what I read, I didn't talk to you about it because nothing really happened. And it was just like, there were elements to it that should have been exciting. Like, oh, there's portals to other realms, but someone figured out how to close them. And some of the Fae got stuck on the other side, like in another dimension or like in another realm when those doorways closed, and they might still be alive, and his father is missing, and maybe his father's the one who closed the gates. And like, there's a lot of interesting stuff that's mentioned so briefly, and then we just dive into them calling each other like bitches and assholes, and he gives off like no attraction to her. Like, he, other than the fact that like he will fuck anything that moves, which, by the way, he says that he has slept with a ton of humans, but like, from where? Was he alive before the gates closed? For just a little bit, but he was 10 years old. I don't think he was fucking any humans when he was 10. It's just like really odd. Didn't like it. They also, like, in terms of the Fae having magic, the only time we see magic being used is he forces her to like clean up the forge, like the workshop, because it has been abandoned and it's really dirty. So she cleans it all up, and like right when she's almost kind of done, like she's moved all the heavy shit to a corner where they're gonna like throw it out later because she's so tired from cleaning, he just like snaps his finger and everything is clean. That's the one time he has used his magic, is to fuck with her. Like, make her do hard labor and then be like, huh, you didn't have to. I read fantasy for fun magic stuff, and this just wasn't it. So unfortunate, because I think that there was potential, but I'm just not going to put myself in a reading slump for that book. It's on Kindle Unlimited if you want to give it a try, but what a bummer. So instead, I'm going to start a book that I really hope it gets me. This is the one, the only Spark of the Everflame. At first, I had heard things about it and I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, it gave off the vibes of like a romantasy book that wouldn't be my lane of romantasy. But I've recently heard people I trust talk about it and rave about it. That's all I've heard. Like, I don't know any specifics. I just know that certain people have posted like, wait, guys. And I believe this is getting republished traditionally. Did I make that up? I don't know. It seems like either did the series is finished, or like the second one came out. Something happened very recently with this series. I still can't believe Quicksilver 4.49. Crazy. Okay, anyway, Spark of the Everflame. Let's read. Okay, oh my god, sorry if anyone has trauma for Slack notification sounds. Spark of the Everflame, we have 56, let's say 57,000 ratings. 4.23. All right, when old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. In a mortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the Descended, their cruel offspring, DM Bellator yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. Her mother's sudden disappearance and the discovery of a dangerous secret about her past offer DM an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of Descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. Oh, with the dying king's handsome, mysterious heir watching her every move, and a ruthless mortal alliance recruiting her to join the growing civil war, DM will have to navigate the unwritten rules of love, power, and politics in order to save her family and all mortal kind. Big boots. Big boots. Spark of the Everflame is the first book in the Kindred's Curse saga, a 4-book fantasy romance series. Check, check, check. This slow burn, enemies to lovers epic is perfect for lovers of magic, dragons, angst, and banter. Boom, baby. However, red flags abound. Appeals to fans of books like A Court of Thorns and Roses, From Blood and Ash, Guild, The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Because the second book in that duology was not good. Okay, it's 438 pages. So what was the deal? Like, did it just get redone? Let me see. Okay, wait. Also, let me see that the whole... So Spark of the Everflame came out in 2023. Wait, what? Did all of the books come out at once? According to Goodreads, Spark of the Everflame, Glow of the Everflame, Heat of the Everflame all came out in 2023. For real? Yeah. What? Wait, this is a mystery we have to dive into. So June, July, and September of 2023, all of the books came out. And then this one hasn't come out yet. Hold on. Burn of the Everflame. Wait, pre-orders were canceled? What? Wait, it's supposed to come out July 2026? Release got pushed back. Date is to be announced on her Instagram. I'm devastated to announce. Whoa, wait, hold on. Burn of the Everflame. This was posted in May by the author. Update on Burn release / arcs. I'm devastated, but unfortunately, the release of Burn is delayed again. I know many of you will be upset. You have a right to be. There are lots of reasons for the delay. Some are exciting, but mostly this is my fault. With this being my debut series and publishing all 4 books as an indie and over a very short time frame, I've had to figure out everything out as I go. It's been a steep learning curve. Mistakes she made are expensive, time consuming. She's struggling to give the characters a proper goodbye. This book is dark and raw and emotional. Okay, let's see her latest post. Wait, there's a reading guide? What does that mean? Very much a binge reader who almost always reads them in one sitting, but I know not everyone has the luxury, so I've decided a guide to prefer to break the book over several reading sessions. Oh, she put like best places to take a break. But what? I'll put these on the screen. She put like the best places to take a break after chapters 1, 6, 12, 14. What? That's interesting. Okay. But do we have any updates on Burn? This is so interesting. I should have made a whole video just about this. Nada? Like nothing? Wait. What's this? Okay, there's a Spanish edition. There's a Portuguese edition. What about... She has an Instagram story. What are you saying? It has been like radio silence. It's even on her website. Oh my God, what? Even on her website, it still says like coming 2024 date to be announced. What? For those to come out like... Okay, well anyway, I'm gonna start it. Is that a bad idea? Maybe, but here we go. What? Okay, Spark of the Everflame. Let's go.
Here we go.
I gotta say, props for her for writing all of this world building succinctly in one page. Now I understand the whole setup of the world, how like the gods and everything works. Great, because she's explaining the holiday that they're celebrating, so it makes sense. It flows very easily, but then we just get boom, and then probably it didn't really happen that way. And we're back on the plot. Like it. Oh, hi. Sorry, I don't know if I've said anything because I've been getting a little distracted just because of work and things like that, and I had to make a TikTok to convince Cindy to watch My Lady Jane. So I'm only at 10%, no fault of the book, just my concentration at this point in time. It's good, it's fun. I'm liking her storyline. She's a healer, and the world building so far is quite interesting. So off we go. I also love that she has a bratty younger brother, but they bicker, but they love each other. Love that. So anyway, I've literally gotten nowhere in the plot, but just hit 20%. I need to go have a meeting, a video call, so I'm going to stop here. But so far, I'm on chapter 7. Really enjoying how it's being set up. I'm intrigued. I don't know where it's gonna go. We're only on 80 pages in, but so far so good. So far so great, in fact. I love how the world is built. I'll show the map up here maybe. Intrigued, fun. See you later. Okay, just checking in quickly before I inevitably fall asleep because I'm in bed and it's late. 29% update. I am really enjoying this. I think that it's paced a little slowly, but in a way that builds the world really well. I think the problem with Quicksilver is that the pace moved slowly, but we also didn't get any world building. This is exciting. The enemy that we assume is the enemies to lovers enemy, she has a legitimate reason for hating him and mistrusting him, which I think Quicksilver lacked, other than he was just an asshole. And we are working on like unraveling a mystery. Like her mom has disappeared and we keep getting all of these crazy secrets, like bit by bit, of what she kept hidden from her daughter. We also just learned, like, it's not a spoiler, we know that she has some kind of power, and she believes her mom told her that her father, who she doesn't know, right? She has like a adopted father, but her actual like biological father, she never met him, and her mom told her that he suffered from like hallucinations, and our girl has them too. But we know that it's not hallucination. She's hallucinating that she has magic, but we know that it's not a hallucination. We know that she actually has magic, but she hasn't been taking her medicine, so she's been getting the hallucinations more and more. But now we realize that her medicine is like really rare. So it's just like bit by bit, the story is interesting in like so many different ways. So yeah, I'm happy to continue it. I'll give you an update. I'm very busy tomorrow, so I probably won't read too much, but I'll catch you whenever I have another update. But so far, so good. Hi, checking in. I had to take a break because of work and things like that. So it's a couple days later, I think. I'm at 65%. I'm on chapter 21. I'm still enjoying it. I think it could be moving a little faster now. It should be moving a little faster now. I also think there are a couple scenes that are just a little unbelievable in terms of like this rando girl is able to like evade all the royal palace guards in like this incredibly heavily protected it's just there's a lot that's like not fully believable. I also just noticed like a couple pages ago that the king's name is Ulther and the prince's name is Luther. Like you just switch the letters. I don't know whose idea that was. Anyway, also we're dealing with a kind of like rebellion, a underground group, and I think they're a little like, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen. The leaders already seem quite shady. However, I already think I know the identity of the woman who's in charge. Okay, potentially. I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But yeah, so far, right at this point, it needs to have been sped up. I read from 56% to 65%, and it needs to be faster. I understand that this is supposed to be slow burn, but like the couple have only met 3 times, I think, in 273 pages. I don't like her current love interest. I think there's a lot of potential if it just gets going. Like I want it now to kick into gear. I'm gonna read for the rest of the night and hopefully finish it, but yeah, I think because it's going so slowly, all the characters are starting to lose their strength a little bit, but it has enough elements that I'm willing to stick it out rather than Quicksilver just wasn't doing anything for me. This at least is a little bit interesting. So off we go. Yeah, she's just kind of like, so she joined the rebellion and she's honestly just kind of being a suck up, a little bit of a people pleaser, which I totally empathize with, but I'm sort of like, girl, where was your like, I don't know, badass attitude, not trusting of anybody? And like maybe it's just because JD Vance is like on the brain, but anybody named Vance currently, and he's like the leader of the rebellion, is like on my shit list. So the fact that she's like helping a guy named Vance, I'm like, ugh. Hi, hello. we've reached the end of our experiment. Last night, I finished Spark of the Everflame. It was about 400 something pages. I feel like we lost the character a little bit. Basically, our character joins a rebellion and quickly realizes that she doesn't really stand on either side. Like, first and foremost, I did enjoy this book. I will continue reading it. All of them are on Kindle Unlimited. Again, the fourth book, unknown. When is it going to come out? We still don't know. But books 1, 2, and 3 are all currently, as of August 18th, still on Kindle Unlimited. So yes, that's my plan for today. I will be finishing the book. My only thing is that it kind of makes sense at the end of the book, where we kind of talk about how actually sheltered our main girl is because her mother and father both had jobs in which they garnered a lot of protection. So she was kind of blinded to, she knew that, like, because she is a healer, she's a doctor, she sees a lot of the destruction that comes from the Descended, but she didn't really get it. She wasn't like personally affected by it, I guess. But because of that, we kind of hear about what the Descended are doing, but not really. So when we think about like, oh, these people are horrible, we end up learning that like so many people are killed. We never really hear that. And so like the king and the prince were just sort of like vaguely, oh, these are like privileged classic, monarchs, right? It's not until the end that we really see how destructive they are. I felt like the romance kind of happened out of nowhere. Like, it was more of a thing of, because I know the tropes, I know that at this point, our two main characters are supposed to be in love. But you didn't really feel it. There was like teasing, but when this was called a slow burn, I kind of expected there to be more burning, but this was more like sniping at each other until all of a sudden there's a kiss scene. And then also with her suddenly deciding, spoiler, you can skip a little bit, for her suddenly deciding to not want to be a healer anymore, I also didn't feel like she ever expressed that. It was like just very sudden that she's like, yeah, this isn't what I want to do. This isn't what I want to be. I felt like that was really sudden, and I would have liked a little bit more hinting at that beforehand. But overall, it was good. I don't think it's going to be like my all-time favorite, but like I said, I am going to continue it, and I have a feeling it's only going to get better. Oh no, actually at the very end, when they're talking about the rebellion and how she's like, oh, I'm not really happy with the rebellion, like you've done some really violent things that I don't agree with, and Henry is like, did you think we would take the Descended down through the goddamned power of friendship? And I was like, that is a dig at Crescent City. Even though Crescent City wasn't written yet, that's a dig. I wish we learned more about the magic and things like that, but again, I think that we're really seeing the world through her eyes, and so we only get these little glimpses of things, and I feel like as her worldview expands, we're also, obviously, our worldview is going to expand. So I really look forward to the second one. I can only see it getting better, and it's already like a solid start. I just, again, wish it had a little bit more. Anyway, I love the little brother. Oh my god, I want to just know his storyline. So yeah, I'm excited for everything to continue. That is Spark of the Everflame. Happy to have read it. So 2 solidly good books that I would recommend you go pick up, and 1 book that I quickly DNF'd. No, that was not gonna happen. So overall, not a bad reading experience. And yeah, so I will leave you here. I actually just read this morning, I read arch-conspirator by Veronica Roth, which is a kind of reimagining of Antigone. It was interesting. It was too short. It's a 100-page book, and it should have been, I think, much longer. But it was an interesting idea. I felt like that was a great draft, and then she should have added like 100 more pages to that book. But if you're looking for a Antigone reimagining and it's sci-fi with a really strange concept that, again, I wish there was more pages so that she actually explained like what the hell. But if you're good with ambiguity, there you go. Arch-conspirator. But yeah, I will leave you here. Let me know what else you should be reading, because again, I'm kind of not in the right booktok FYP for the kind of viral books. Currently I'm very much in the like, what's new at IKEA For You page. So I will leave it up to you to fill the comment section with things I can and should read or shouldn't read, but you still want me to read. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this. Once again, I have a link in the description box. You can go to squarespace.com/caricanread to get 10% off of your first website or domain, and my website's always linked down below as well if you want to check out what you can do with Squarespace. So it's a new day. I might just dive right into, let me see, there wasn't anything else, right? Yeah, and also the reason that I am absolutely diving into the second book today is that the book ends with the prince wrote her father a letter, and I'm like, well, if there's a letter in a book, gotta read it. And they didn't print the whole thing. They said if only that had been the end of the letter. So there's more, and I want to know, so I have to read the next book. Once again, all on Kindle Unlimited. Okay, my Kindle hasn't updated yet, but I promise I have them all. See you guys next time, okay? Thank you, Squarespace. Thank you always. Catch you later.